Hey, FlimsyLunchTray here, back with our How to Map series, as we are finally wrapping up the map Big Race. This being part 6, where this will be the 6th video iteration of all the videos we've done. We had an introduction video to the map Big Race, talking about some key features on the map. We've talked about carriers, we talked about battleships, cruisers, destroyers. And then part 6, basically it's a summary of all that, where I actually show you clips, footage, battle, and action, just focusing on such as, I've been talking a lot about the islands, they have the sloped ends where, cruisers, destroyers, even battleships can fire over the sides of these islands without being detected. You're going to see that multiple times throughout this clip today. As well as talking about the 2 kill boxes. You have the kill box on the right center, kind of going into the cove there, and then towards the center left where you have that big opening of water there, that being the 2nd kill box. And you're going to see why I spent a lot of time talking about these 2 kill boxes in general, and how it sometimes can be an advantage. You can take advantage of it, definitely, but then also see the death and how they can be quite deadly. So I'm just going to pull some mini-map footage of carriers, as I don't really play carriers. So just paying attention to the mini-map here, you can see this is typical positioning for carriers in this battle. You see the 2 enemy, the Langley and the Rhine, up to the north on the 1 and 2 line. You can see also in this example, you can see the Hosho bottom left, and then eventually he's going to move towards the right side. These are just all typical carrier positioning, because like where the Rhine is and the Hosho is right now, it works out really good for not the return cycle of sending planes out is shorter versus being in J10 or A1 for that matter. So moving on, we're going to talk about battleships now. I'm going to give you the example of the Tier 3 Japanese battleship. This is some bots in this, and you can see there's this bot cruiser in the 1st kill box that we've been talking about, and not even 3 minutes into the battle. And so this is why this kill box is bad. So you can see just chunk him there, and then myself as a battleship we've talked about kind of staying in the line between these 2 islands here. So we're staying out of danger's way. So then now we're moving up. A lot of time has passed, but look at how many ships have died in this kill box on the mini map. Okay, so you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and just almost in just 3 or 2 squares, where all those ships have died, both bots and human players. So that's why it's important to try to stay out of that kill box, at least early game, unless there's no enemy present. Because it's just that deadly. I'm going to move on to the Scharnhorst here. So I'm moving up on this flank, and it turns out that the enemy have sent all their destroyers to A and B. We've got the Mahan in A, we've got the Sims in B, we've got the Vostros pushing up, we've got on the mini-map you can see the Sinop and the Florida in the back also pushing this direction. So this is just not a good position to be in. Our friendly destroyer is not going to make it because he's entered the kill box. And he's definitely outnumbered. So basically stopping here and then turning around to kite away. You can see I'm in this kiting position now, and I think I was asking the Colorado to get back. And so basically we haven't kite away at this point. I had armor piercing loaded to see if I could get a good slap on the Florida as he moved around the corner. But then the Sinop is just really hard to deal with too when you're in a Scharnhorst, unless you're able to close the distance. But I can't close the distance with all these destroyers. So for now, it's important to kite away, and I'm mostly going to be switching to HE, and you're going to see that we have some more damage as we go into the next scene here, where basically we've just kind of burned out the enemy team. And even though we don't have map control, we've worn them out. And now I get to counter push in because the Sinop's dead, and it's just the Florida and this enemy Sims here who's about to die. And so basically just exhausting the enemy team. So this is now later in the battle, pushing out into this kill box. It's okay, because we have the advantage. Our destroyers are safe being out because they've taking control of the kill box. They have the smoke screen, they have the concealment range, so it's safe for them to do so. Moving on to cruisers. So this is a tier 4 Italian cruiser. You can see here as I move up. I'm in a kill box just over 5 minutes that the battle had passed with clanmate February. I've kind of committed to the kill box at this point. This enemy cruiser is pushed up. February goes into the island, which means he's basically guaranteed to eat torpedoes now for the enemy cruiser. But I don't have any torpedoes worried about coming my way, so I'm just going to keep chunking him with sap. Now, the reason this clip's going to be a little bit longer, I'm going to show you if you can play in the kill box well, you'll do all right. But even though I'm a relatively good player, I still really struggle with what's happening here. And I'm already slowing down because I want to turn in after killing this cruiser because there's 2 destroyers just at the back. It wasn't the wisest for me to push in, but I needed to keep pushing in to support February and take out this cruiser. So now I'm turning more nose in. I'm expecting, or I'm still slowed down, but I'm expecting torpedoes coming this way. And basically I'm going to turn to my right because I'm showing a little bit too much side. We got the Charleston who's firing at us. We got this other cruiser you can see off to my 2 o'clock roughly. So this is just a really, really dangerous position to be in, despite the fact that I've taken 2 enemy ships with me already. But I have to turn, and I'm going to be presenting this broadside to the Charleston, which he citadels us for good measure. And then we have this bot CV as well. And now you can see all the torpedoes that are coming in where I was. So even though when you're in the kill box, you definitely want to take advantage of these 2 islands, like I am here, just because it's really dangerous. So trying to see if we get a shot off on him, and then you can see that I'm going to dump torpedoes towards the enemy cruiser as he kind of moves back in. And because I'm still detected, unfortunately, by a spot cruiser, the Charleston is going to continue to get shots. Now, I did want to emphasize that the Charleston player on the enemy team, he's doing really well because he's just parked right outside the kill box. And I have to turn, show a little more side here because the island is preventing me. This is kind of one of the weaknesses of this. When you're in the kill box and you're trying to run away, you have to show this broadside as we almost die there. So that's a good position that Charleston player was in. Just punishing players, our team, for going into the kill box. Now this is an example showing you utilizing the slope of these islands. Even though I have just over 200 health left, I'm still able to take advantage on the mini-map here. I'm firing not over just 1, but 2 slopes, 2 islands I'm firing over. So this is a really good strength when you are in a cruiser player, especially when you're on low health like this, to be able to take advantage, which we actually net the Confederate here because we've shot a lot of different enemy players and bots on the enemy team. But this is just, again, shows you the strengths of when you can utilize these islands, these slopes, even when you're in such a low health and not able to really contribute much to my team at this point. So we're going to move on, looking at the tier 5 Italian cruiser. That's kind of grinding up the line. We're just past 8 minutes into the battle, and now I feel like it's an actually good opportunity to push around this island, where we get to chunk the enemy cruiser here with our sap, and then I end up switching to AP and kind of a disappointing salvo. But I have Doom Beagle with me, another clanmate, and he's just able to punish this cruiser for going into the kill box because he has the concealment to do so. Not only that, he's able to punish the New York because he gets to move on him, and still being conscious that there are enemy ships off to the other side of the map, so I nose in and going to go dark here. So now moving on to the destroyers, this is probably the most of the footage in this battle is going to be talking about destroyers, just because this is such a great map for destroyers, and I think a lot of destroyer players can get kind of confused on this map. Here you can see we're in the beginning of the battle. This is a bot destroyer that's rushing us, but you can see he's just openly traversing right across the kill box. Not that he knows any better, but this is to show you as a human player why this can be rather not wise to do. Because he's just exposed and it's multiple ships all around punishing him. So now, a little later in the battle, I'm able to use the islands. Like I've said when talking about destroyers in part 5, you can utilize these islands to sneak up on enemy ships. And we get to do that, especially trying to dump these torpedoes off on the New York. We're not going to get the kill on him here. Actually, Sammy, another clanmate, is going to get the kill on him here. But this is just to kind of show you those ambush positions when you can just kind of pop out on an enemy battleship and catch them off guard, because your carriers are really vulnerable in this map. A little later, pushing up, there's a destroyer in the smoke screen. And so now it's fine for me to push into the kill box. This destroyer is in the kill box. I got my Void, Forgotten Void, another clanmate. We're basically punishing him in this direction. He's doing the right thing and kind of disengaging because there's likely to be possible torpedoes along the way. And Sammy is able to get him. So that's, again, a really danger on this map is when you have some of these CVs, especially in the kill box, and that enemy destroyer doesn't have a chance. Now, towards the end of the battle, it's just the carriers alive. Just killing one of them will end the battle. So this is kind of the unfortunate when your team, for the enemy team, for all the carrier players, allies being killed. You can see we still have over half our team alive. And you're able to punish carriers because it's really, because the map's so small, it's really dangerous. Ideally, in this situation, the carriers should just been running for A1. Maybe they live a little longer, get to do a little bit more damage. But it's just kind of highlighting that. Now, this is a ranked example. This map is usually tier 2 through tier 5, but in this recent ranked iteration, it was tier 6 to tier 7 on this map. Here we're in the Jervis and we're diving the center cap. Normally I don't recommend doing this, but because I'm in the Jervis, I have the hydroacoustic search, and I feel pretty comfortable to move in here. I can see that the enemy destroyer is moving towards C. And then able to sit here safely. The cap's not being contested, so I don't need to pop my hydroacoustic search. There is an enemy radar on the enemy team. They have an Atlanta, so I'm having to be conscious of that. And we're going to get this cap uncontested. And then the other destroyer also went towards C. So that means I'm going to run down towards A, but I see the Surrey moving in. We haven't detected the Atlanta just till now. So I'm going to pop smoke. I'm going to turn and use this island. Now, instead of just making a straight line towards that A cap, I went wide like this. Or I hugged the island. So in case something happens, I can just disengage, go dark. That's another great thing about these islands on this map. In that type of situation, you can utilize the islands well to your advantage. Now, in the meantime, the enemy Akatsuki has taken Bravo. Kind of stopped slowing down. Maybe this torpedo's coming across my nose towards my friendly battleship. And that is when I get radar, just as I detect the Akatsuki. I had AP loaded, so no damage done to him there. All ricochets. And now go ahead and pop smoke. And to go dark here once the Atlanta, or if we get outside the radar range, which is what I was trying to do. And we're able to take out the enemy Akatsuki. So again, you can see I'm playing around these islands constantly to help myself out. Now here I'm actually able to open gunboat because all the enemy ships are behind islands. And you can see we have the map control, but the enemy team, they are basically all now into the kill box outside the enemy battleship on the C line. And I pop smoke for good measure, also because I have friendlies moving out into the kill box as they push down this way. So I pop smoke for the cruiser behind me to my right, so he can use it without fear of being damaged. Now this is in the Agla. This is actually a battle I had to carry. You wouldn't think we have a points lead, but things go very south because our team's kind of pushing out into the kill box. My smoke's on cooldown, so basically realizing the situation we're in, I'm trying to get these kills as much as possible. Because even though the enemy team is in a really strong position, because they're on the northern end of the map, you can see some time has passed. Now there's only 2 of us, 2 versus 5. I'm trying to get our Organizer now to not push forward anymore, getting him to stop, because you can see his torpedoes that just came across his bow. But I'm basically playing this defensive position in Bravo, because I really don't want to move up from here at this point, just because it's not safe to. And trying to take the Suri out, he basically ran into the island. He got himself exposed, and the Organizer now player and I are able to finish him off. So a little later, the enemy destroyer, the T-61, has circled around, and he's going to take the cap. Now, it's important for us to retain cap control, despite the fact that we are about to lose this. Or just not lose this, just in a really bad position. And it's important in a situation like this with such low health that you keep firing on the enemy destroyer because he slowed down and stopped, even though he smoked up. And also stopping like that, we juke shells from the enemy Miyoko. So the point, even though we had the ship disadvantage, we still have the points advantage, and that's what's important to keep intact at this point. Now I had this enemy destroyer, the Anshan, and I outgunned him, so this is a fight I'm willing to take. I popped the engine boost, but also try to see if I get some free shots over the corner of this island as it goes dark, because our Organizer now lost light detection of him. And his engine's knocked out, so this means it's a little bit more easier to land some of these shells. So basically I'm going to be playing with my throttle here if he does decide to dump torps. He's not fired at me yet, which suggests that he is looking to dump torpedoes in my general direction. And now, only now, does he actually begin opening up. And when you're in destroyer like myself in this situation, we retained our health advantage throughout the whole entire battle. So it means I can more easily trade with this enemy Anshan. And our Organizer now is pushing up into Charlie, but that's actually not going to work out very well for him. Again, even though the Anshan, he's on the low health, he's smoking up. Destroying this type of situation, you want to keep firing, because who knows, you might just get the killing shot. Especially in a situation like this, it's important that I get him killed. Now we're going to zoom back around, and I'm going to come in, sped up the footage, just so you don't have to watch this very long. Alright, friendly Organizer now is going to die to the enemy Leon, because I think the Organizer now is going to take some torps there, and it's not going to take much for the Leon to finish him off. But look, throughout this whole iteration, we've retained cap control. The Organizer now, at least he did keep the enemy ships distracted. There's not enough time, enough time on the score timer for the enemy to make a bounce back. And one of the things I pointed out as the destroyers is this part of the map is you have this nice cove. So basically all I need to do is live now. We've killed 4 of the 7 enemy ships. And we're just going to nose up and we're just going to park here and claim our victory. So even though when things can be looking really well for your team, when the enemy team is in that defensive position like they were in C, and our team pushed up from B out into that kill box, it went south really quickly, as you saw. But regardless, we retained cap control, and that was the important thing in that situation to do. Again, this is a different battle in Egla. Now you can see I'm actually, there's less than 4 minutes have been played, and I'm actually running out in the middle of this one of the 2 kill boxes. I'm doing that because none of the enemy ships came towards C, and I can quickly run down to Bravo with my engine boost. You can see I've dumped some preemptive torps. There's just a destroyer sitting in there, and I have HE loaded, and so I'm able to make this move and expose myself in the kill box. Also because I don't have to worry about being detected, even though this enemy destroyer would out-detect me. He eats one of my torps, and we're going to be able to finish him off quickly. Got the Helena behind me, backing me up, and the Scharnhorst secondaries managed to get him. Now, this is important. As I showed earlier, my Helena is crossing the kill box. He's in a dangerous position. I'm a destroyer who has smokescreen. So I let my Helena player know that I'm going to drop smoke on him. Because it's important to keep him alive, he's exposed, and with his guns, he can do a really good job against the enemy team here. So I'll go ahead and pop smoke. I'm going to stretch it out. I'm not going to just stop in only one puff. So just be mindful if you're a destroyer player and you have the opportunity to smoke up a willing cruiser player. It's important to do that just because the kill box can be really deadly. I mean, there's multiple enemy battleships and I could easily punish him. Now, one thing I want to zoom in on here on the mini map is look at how our team is handling this. So our team has basically, they're utilizing the islands really well, and we've not keep running out of B. You know, we killed the one enemy ship that was just in A, and so that's important. Even though you outnumber the enemy team, you holding these defensive positions while the enemy team is kiting, running away, means you're going to be really strong. And I'm actually going to pop another smoke for the Helena here as well. But this is just the strength of when you're in like that previous battle where our team kind of just rushed out of B up into C. If our team just would have held back using those multiple islands, those 3 islands that touch C, it's really important and means more likely to sustain yourself and win the battle. So I didn't feel like I really need to show more clips just because this is a pretty straightforward map in that sense. It's a low tier. You don't really have much gimmicks. You know, even though you had this ranked iteration where we had tier 7 ships on it as well. You get to see the strengths of this map, but also if you play them well, the right way, and also the dangers of the 2 kill boxes in particular. And how, again, you can utilize those islands to your advantage. If you run up on an enemy cruiser or destroyer, if you're a destroyer going to make a torp run, or just a destroyer, cruiser, or even a battleship maybe in general, able to fire over the islands, staying dark, you know, as you saw me in the tier 4 Italian cruiser, which I'm not even going to try to pronounce, even though we only had 200 health left. We were able to utilize the islands, stay dark, and keep punishing the enemy team with some sap. So I hope you liked this video. I'm sorry that it took me a bit while to wrap up the map series of how to map on Big Race. But now it is finished, it is done. If you have questions or thoughts, let me know in the comments regarding this series or just questions about the map Big Race in general. I hope it's been beneficial for you. Again, the 2 things is just keep in mind those 2 kill boxes, and then the slopes of the islands, use them to your advantage. So if you liked today's video, give it a thumbs up. If you did not, give it a thumbs down. Subscribe if you do want to see more, and if you have already subscribed, really appreciate it as we continue to grow the community here, as we've actually been growing quite a lot recently within the last several weeks, and almost up to 300 subscribers. So until next time, take care.